Hello, welcome to Shrewsbury Film Society and our online film club. If you'd like more details about how to get involved, either visit our website or send us an email at shrewsburyfilmsociety@gmail.com. Our next film for online viewing and discussion is a French drama from 2009 called Mme Chambon, directed by Stéphane Brisé. We've picked this film, as usual, for several different reasons. First of all, it's a complete contrast to our last film, Feston. Secondly, it stars, one of the stars, I should say, is Vincent Lindon, whose acting we like, and several of whose other films we've shown or got close to showing. And partly, of course, it's been very well received by film critics and is available on BFI Player. A little bit, first of all, perhaps about the lead male actor, Vincent Lindon. He's not particularly well known in the English-speaking world, but he's actually made somewhere between 50 and 60 feature films. We showed one of them, this one here, The White Knights, a couple of summers ago. It's a very dramatic film involving him trying to rescue child orphans from Chad and coming unstuck. And we also would have shown one of his earlier films from 2015 called The Measure of Man, which is really superb. Also directed by Stéphane Brisé, but is a little bit miserable. And as you probably know, if you're a regular at the Film Society, it's quite easy to find downbeat, excellent films, and it just got pushed out by something a little bit more cheerful when we made our final programme. Most recently, Lindon and Brisé have collaborated again on a film called At War, in which Lindon plays a factory worker and trades unionist who leads a battle to save his job and his colleagues' jobs. That film came out in 2019, but as far as I can tell at the moment is not available in the UK unless you want to import the Blu-ray subtitled version from the USA. The female lead actor in Mademoiselle Chambon is a French actress called Sandrine Kiberlin. Again, she's not particularly well known in the English-speaking world, but she has also made something like 50 or 60 films. And we did show one of them about 3 years ago. She appeared in this film, Life of Riley, which was Alan René's adaptation of an Alec Ayckbourn play. And in fact, in the booklet that comes with it, there's a picture of her looking rather older than she does in the film you're about to see this evening. She also appeared in a film called Women of the Sixth Floor, which came out, I think, in 2010. That was pretty popular with film societies at the time. And I think we just missed out on it because the Film Society was just in its infancy in Shrewsbury at that time. This film, Mademoiselle Chambon, is a very low-key film, but a really emotionally powerful one. It has only got a 12 certificate, but the Board of Film Certification says it has only one use of strong language. But you'll find in spite of that, that it's, or perhaps because of that, it's an incredibly strong drama in which nearly every glance and every move by the protagonists produces what reviewers have variously called a neutron bomb of emotion in one review, and another one described it as characters suppressing volcanic emotions. So in that sense, it's very much from the sort of less is more school of filmmaking. No special effects, of course, rather little dialogue, sparse use of music, and in some ways it's quite reminiscent, I found anyway, of the sort of Japanese style of filmmaking that's particularly associated with people like Yasujiro Ozu and his very famous Tokyo Story that some of you may have seen at the Film Society when we showed that a few years ago. The plot, as you'll see in this film, is extremely straightforward. There are no subplots, there's just one very clear narrative. But in spite of it being very clear, I think it's impossible to guess how it's going to end. I think you'll probably find yourself in suspense right up until the very last frame. And perhaps the intensity of the film is also amplified when you discover that the two stars, Lindon and Kiberlin, were actually married in 1998 and divorced 10 years later, so probably just before this film went into production, since it's credited as a 2009 release. The film ends at a railway station, and inevitably that makes one think about other films end likewise. I think it's fair to say that the plot has more than a passing similarity, and so are some of the sort of emotional concerns of the film, linked to the British classic, of course, Brief Encounter, 1945. Who can forget? That one actually starts and ends at the railway station. And actually, if you've not seen Brief Encounter, or if you haven't seen it recently, it's still well worth watching. It really does stand up to the test of time. That railway station ending also prompted me to think about other films that have railway stations playing a big part in them. There are obviously loads and loads of films that are set on trains, but there are also some interesting other ones that either take place mostly at a station or start or end at a station. Some others that you might be interested in if you haven't come across them before. There's this terrific Czech film, Closely Observed Trains by Yuri Menzel, which actually won the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film back in 1968. Slightly more recently, I think this is from '87, a film by the great Polish director Krzysztof Kieślowski. You can see the man running for the train, and in that one, the film actually has 3 successive stories, with the man alternately catching and not catching the train, and then having different developments in his life after that. And finally, another one I came across recently, Vittorio De Sica, the Italian neo-realist. He made this film entirely set at the main railway station in Rome called Terminal Station. This is actually the Italian release, although this copy happens to have Korean subtitles as well as English ones. But unusually, that one was completely recut, re-edited, reissued, and came out in the US with the title Indiscretion of an American Wife. So you've got a complete choice there in 2 totally different stories presented at the same railway station. Okay, so that's probably enough about railway stations. My advice now would be pick a slot in the next couple of weeks when you can sit back and enjoy this really beautiful, slow but immensely powerful drama. Let yourself be absorbed by a gentle but gripping tale that's really told in a very understated way that actually accentuates the impact of each image and each sound. And just as an illustration of that, for me, I think 2 of the best scenes or sequences in the film consist of the camera moving from indoors to outdoors to in a car, and our emotions being carried along through that cut from one view to another by a most extraordinary solo violin playing, providing continuity that really tugs at our heartstrings. Pure cinematic magic. So do enjoy it, and we very much look forward to discussing it with you online in a couple of weeks' time.